Hi, welcome to the race management briefing for the UK Optimist Nationals to be held at Weymouth and Portland National Sailing Academy. My name is Ian Bullock and I'll be your race officer. First of all, a big thank you to Gil for sponsoring the event and a thank you to all the volunteers from both Weymouth and from the class who are about to make this possible. As for other recent events, we'll be trying to avoid any points where people are forced to congregate. So this is the briefing for the event. There won't be another briefing in person at the venue. The official notice board will be online only and can be found at this address. The key things to look for there are, first of all, the notice of race. Then there'll be a set of sailing instructions for the main fleet and a different set for the regatta fleet. And then also there'll be an online protest form and any other notices which you might post. Also, as per previous events, we're going to be using Telegram for messaging. So there are 4 channels for Telegram. First of all, a broadcast channel, which allows the race committee to communicate to the competitors. There's a queries channel, so if you have any questions for the race committee, you can use this, but please do use it sparingly, because if it gets too noisy, it's very hard to pick out the important messages. And in order to take some of the traffic off that queries group, there's also a lost and found group, which you can see below. Finally, there's a group for the organisers. So if you are involved with helping out and you haven't been added to this list, please speak to your organising contact and we'll get you added. So the course for this event will be inner and outer loop trapezoids. So they're in the sailing instructions. This year we have 2 separate fleets, the seniors and the juniors, and only 1 start in each fleet. The advantage of that for us is that we don't have to wait for the juniors to finish to start the seniors and vice versa. I can't tell you now which fleet will be doing which course, so please check the course before every start. It could vary. The reason for this is that if the outer loop is free, then it makes more sense to put the next start on the outer loop so that we don't have any hold-ups later. And where do you check? There'll be a notice board on the back of the committee boat which will be displaying O and a number or I and a number. Here I've used 2, which is the most common course we'll be using, and 2 means there's 2 beats. So on the outer loop, your first beat is from the start line and the second beat is on the outer loop, and for the inner loop, first beat is from the start line and the second beat is alongside where you would have been for the first one. And then should we happen to do a 3, your last beat, your third beat, is always where your second one was. So for an outer loop, it's out on the outer loop, and for the inner loop, it's up the middle again. Okay, so let's have a look at these in a bit more detail. A quick animation for you just to show how the 2 fleets look. So the big blob is the leader, and then we've got the back of the fleet, the little blob. First fleet on the outer loop goes across the top and then down and up again. And on the inner loop, we go straight back down, second beat up the inside. And we should end up with the leaders of the second flight just somewhere near the back of the other flight. This diagram showed the marks 3 and 4 as single marks, but we'll be using gates unless something goes wrong. So 3 and 4. If there should just be 1 mark there, round it to port, but generally there will be a gate. So these diagrams have shown the pin as being a buoy, but in fact we're going to be using a boat for the pin for this event. So the start line, both boats will have orange flags on them. There'll also be 2 yellow pillar buoys, little small pencil buoys, laid downwind of the committee boat and the pin boat. And if you're in the second flight, you need to stay downwind of those when we're in sequence. So instead of looking like this, since the orange flags are displayed, the fleet should separate itself out. So one flight is about to start, and the other one is well out of the way. We'll be using either uniform or black as our preparatory signals. So I'm sure you know that means If you're in the triangle from where the line and the first mark in the last minute before the start, and the start goes ahead, you will be disqualified. So if you get caught there and identified, the race officer has no choice but to disqualify you. You will either get UFD or BFD. If you're not sure the difference, please find out, please look that up, because if we have general recalls, it can make a big difference. So by the time those flags are removed, you need to be out of the triangle. And that's now 1 minute. Now let's look at the finish. For this event, the finish line is separate from the start line. One thing to think about here is because we have two separate fleets, as soon as you finish, have a look over to see if the start line is clear, and if so, make your way over and be ready for another start. A couple of venue specific things. This chart shows Portland Harbour. You can see the launch area where the National Sailing Academy is down in the bottom left-hand corner. Our primary race area will be inside the harbour, shown there. We will definitely try to get you out into the bay if we can, which is over here. But bear in mind that that's a 1.5 nautical mile sail across the harbour, so we need to make sure we have lots of time and the right conditions to do it. Just going a little bit deeper to this. So that's the marina, showing again the launch area. If we look at an aerial photo, you can see there's some moorings to the top left here, which you're not allowed to sail through. So when you exit the marina, launch, sail as directly as you can through the marina as quickly as you can and off to the right. Now, if we just go a little bit closer in so you can look at the launch area, you'll see the dinghy park is roughly that area there, and the slipway is there. But it's very important that you do not move your boats from your boat park to the slipway until you are actually ready to launch, and we've said you can launch. This is a very busy centre, and there are other water users trying to use the slipway. Final thing, we really want to see some great fair sailing at this event. If you have any rules disputes, just protest or do your turns. There's no need for any shouting and screaming on the water. Treat everyone with respect, and I hope you have a great event, and I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you very much.